Welcome back to another episode of Insects for Fun. I'm your host, Mitchell Logan, and today we are covering an insect that I've actually wanted to do an episode on for a long time, because it's from my favorite family of moths, but also because it's really grown in popularity. The Rosy Maple Moth, Dryocampa rubicunda, belongs to the family Saturniidae, the giant silk moths. This is the same family as the Luna moth, the Cecropia moth, the Atlas moth, and the Hercules moth. Basically, the family that contains all the most spectacular moths on the planet. The Rosy Maple Moth is the smallest member of the Saturniid family, though, which is kind of funny given how much attention it gets. It might honestly get the most headshot photos out of all the giant silk moths because of how cute it is. The genus name Dryocampa comes from the Greek dries meaning oak or tree, and camp meaning caterpillar. So it's basically an oak tree caterpillar, which is straightforward enough except for the fact it's literally called the maple moth, not an oak moth. The species name rubicunda is Latin for ruddy or rosy, which given the color scheme is doing the bare minimum as a description. It was first formally described in 1793 by the Danish entomologist Johann Christian Fabricius, who described thousands of insect species in his lifetime and clearly had an eye for a good moth. The Rosy Maple Moth is found exclusively in eastern North America, from southern Canada down through the eastern US as far west as Texas, Kansas, and Nebraska, and as far south as Florida. Its range closely follows the distribution of its host trees, which we'll get to shortly. In Vermont and across New England, it's a summer moth, appearing from late May through August depending on latitude and temperature. The moth is striking with pastel pinks and yellows, and to me, looks like it could get its own sherbet flavor. But seriously, it's got summer sherbet vibes going on, absolutely. The forewings are pink with a wide triangular band of bright yellow across the middle. The hind wings are yellow, the body is yellow too, and extremely fluffy. We're talking proper fuzzy wool sweater energy fluffy. The legs and antennae are pink, but the colors can vary between individuals, with some very pale, almost cream and soft pink, with others being more vivid hot pink and neon yellow. There's also a subspecies in Missouri that's almost entirely white. Males have noticeably larger, more feathery antennae than females, and for a good reason. Because in case you forgot, male moth antennae, at least in the Saturniid family, are packed with chemoreceptors that can detect female pheromones from significant distances. They're essentially tools to track down females in the dark. In terms of size, the Rosy Maple Moth is again very small compared to its relatives. Males have a wingspan of 32 to 44 millimeters, or about 1.25 to 1.75 inches. And females are slightly larger at 38 to 50 millimeters, or about 1.5 to 2 inches. For reference, a Luna moth can have a wingspan of over 100 millimeters, so the Rosy Maple Moth is very compact. If the adult moth surprised you, wait until you see the caterpillar, because it's also very cool. Young caterpillars start out pale yellow with faint green stripes and a black head. But as they grow through their 5 larval instars, they get more and more dramatic. Fully grown larvae are bright neon green with 7 dark green longitudinal stripes running the length of the body, a vivid red-orange head, and 2 thick black horn-like structures sitting right above the head like tiny handlebar antennae. The rear end also has a streak of red. To recap, that's neon green, striped, red-headed, and horned. This caterpillar is where the common name green-striped mapleworm comes from, and it's actually a useful name because it tells you exactly what the caterpillar looks like and what it eats. The larvae feed primarily on maple leaves. We're talking red maple, sugar maple, silver maple, and box elder maple as the main hosts, with turkey oak as an occasional alternative. They eat the entire leaf blade, skipping only the midrib, and in large numbers, can completely defoliate a tree. The good news is that the healthy maples generally recover fully from this, so it looks a lot worse than it actually is. Which leads us right into the life cycle. Females, much like their relatives, don't take flight until after they mate, and will stay where they eclosed, releasing pheromones to attract a male. After she's paired, she'll lay yellow oval eggs in clusters of 10 to 40 on the undersides of maple leaves. The eggs hatch within about 2 weeks, and the young caterpillars initially feed together in a group before gradually dispersing as they grow. This is a common phenomenon with Cecropia and Promethea moths as well. Once they go through 5 larval instars over roughly a month, they're ready to pupate. But unlike many other giant silk moths, these pupate underground. The caterpillar drops from the tree, burrows into the soil, and forms a simple brown pupal case without a silk cocoon. As for how many generations in a year, well, that depends entirely on where you live. In the northern part of the range, including Vermont and most of New England and Canada, there is only 1 brood per year, with adults appearing in late spring and early summer. In the southern states, warmer temperatures allow for 2 to 3 broods per year, with adults appearing as early as March and staying as late as October. Adults emerge, mate, lay eggs, and die, often within a week or 2. Like all Saturniid moths, adults have no functional mouth parts and cannot eat. They live entirely on the energy reserves built up during the larval stage. Okay, so some of you might be wondering, why on earth is this moth pink and yellow? Does the color serve a purpose? And the honest answer is, we're not completely sure. And it's actually an interesting scientific question. The leading theory is aposematism, warning coloration. Bright, high-contrast colors in nature often signal to predators that an animal is toxic, venomous, or tastes really bad. Think like poison dart frogs, monarch butterflies, or yellow jackets. The idea is that the Rosy Maple Moth's vivid pink and yellow might signal to birds or other predators that it's really not worth eating. The problem with this theory, though, is that Rosy Maple Moths don't appear to be toxic or particularly unpalatable. Birds are documented as predators of both the adults and caterpillars. Blue jays, black-capped chickadees, and tufted titmice have all been recorded eating them. Parasitic flies and wasps also seem to attack them pretty regularly. So if the coloration is warning something, it might not be working all that well. Or the warning might be bluffing, a phenomenon called Batesian mimicry, where a harmless species mimics the appearance of a genuinely dangerous one, without actually being dangerous itself. Now, of course, there is another possibility, and that's that the color helps with camouflage in a specific context. Pink and yellow flowers or dappled light through maple leaves could provide some concealment in the right setting. But there's also a much simpler explanation. The color might just be a byproduct of other biochemical processes and not selected for appearance at all. This is still very much an open question, which makes it even more interesting. One of the most vividly distinct moths in North America, and we still don't fully understand what the color is for. Earlier, I alluded to flies and wasps targeting the caterpillars, but there's one culprit that is a reoccurring issue, and that would be the introduced tachinid fly, Compsylura consinata. I'm like 99% sure I already talked about this fly in previous episodes though, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, other than to remind you that this fly was deliberately introduced to North America in 1906 as a biological control agent against the brown-tail moth and gypsy moth, both of which were causing serious damage to northeastern forests. Studies, some even done by people I've personally worked with while at UMass Amherst, have directly linked its spread to significant declines in Luna moth, Cecropia moth, and Rosy Maple moth populations across the Northeast. The good news, though, is that Rosy Maple moths are currently listed as globally secure, despite being noticeably less common in parts of New England. The Rosy Maple moth went viral in a big way on social media, particularly on platforms like Twitter and TikTok, when photos of it started circulating with captions like, "This can't be a real animal," or, quote, "Nature is on drugs," unquote. And honestly, that's fair. The response was so overwhelming that it spawned a small cottage industry of Rosy Maple Moth merchandise. Plushies, enamel pins, stickers, even clothing. There are Etsy shops that do Rosy Maple Moth content almost exclusively. What's interesting from a science communication standpoint is that this organic viral moment brought a lot of people to entomology who had never previously been interested in moths. Bug people noticed a genuine uptick in people reaching out, asking how to identify moths, how to attract them to their yard, and what plants to grow for caterpillars. The Rosy Maple Moth essentially served as an unexpected gateway drug into Lepidoptera, and I think that's really great. If you want to see one in Vermont, they're here. They're attracted to light like most moths, so a porch light or a white sheet with a UV lamp in a maple-heavy yard in June or July is your best bet. They fly at night, emerge after dark, and if you're in the right habitat, you may find one resting near a light in the morning. So, the moth is super cute, and at this point you may be asking if you can raise them yourself as pets. And the answer is yeah, totally. Rosy Maple Moths have been raised in captivity by moth enthusiasts and are considered one of the more approachable Saturniid to rear, primarily because their host plant, maple, is so widely available. If you can find eggs or young caterpillars on maple leaves, you can raise them in a mesh enclosure with fresh maple cuttings changed regularly. The caterpillars are straightforward to care for, and the transformation from neon green striped larvae to pink and yellow adults is one of the most dramatic in North American entomology. If you want to try rearing moths as a hobby, Rosy Maple Moths are definitely a solid starting point. Just be prepared for the caterpillar to look like something from a cartoon and the adult to look like something from a fever dream. And with that, we're going to end this episode. Thanks as always for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please drop a 5-star rating on whatever platform you use. It really does make a huge difference. Bonus episodes are available at patreon.com/insectsforfun, as well as ad-free episodes and vlogs. And of course, you can hit me up on IG at insects4fun or email insectsfordummies@gmail.com with topics you want covered. See you next week.